I now call upon the Minister for Multi-Ethnic Affairs and Sugar Industry, the Honorable Charan Jeath Singh, to make his contribution.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Leader of Opposition, Honorable Cabinet Ministers and Assistant Ministers, Honorable Members of the House, ladies and gentlemen, Pula Vinaka, and good afternoon to you all. On the outset, Mr. Speaker, today when I was in the tea break, Honorable Johnny Osmate promised me that he will not interject. At least it starts from there. And of course, Mr. Speaker, I have also got the Leader of Opposition on my side, because he's a cane farmer, and he wants $100 minimum ton on cane. I said, you vote for me, I give it to you. And once more, I would also like to talk about Honorable Ratu Josiah Nyundamu. He is one of the politicians from the other side who's giving his hand. He wants to give the farms in his Ra province to grow more sugar. That type of approach I like. Before I go on my speech proper, Mr. Speaker, I need to give some observations. Now, Honorable Nabil Rua said something about FICAC should stay. I don't know what is the plan of the Attorney General, whether FICAC is going to be merged or will stay on its own. But one thing for sure, I'd like to say that the person who's currently the CEO of FICAC, Rashmi Aslam, he has to go immediately. Because 3 years ago, Abdul Khan, the former CEO of FSC, his corrupt file was handed to FICAC. And till date, nothing has happened. Here, we have small cases that were given to FICAC. Immediately, people were prosecuted and sent to jail. Now, Mr. Speaker, as you know that I'll be talking on sugar and the plans we have. But one thing I'd like to remind MPs here, honorable members, that FSC employed Vishnu Mohan as the chairman, who was residing in Toronto. He was, by remote, running the FSC. And here, Abdul Khan was made the CEO, who was paid $840,000. $840,000. Now listen. It hurts. It hurts, the truth. Now, sit down.
He's raised the point of order.
I request one member not to point me, please.
Mr. Speaker say,
before I finish, don't enter into any kind of discussion. No running comment.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker say, Abdul Khan was paid $840,000 salary. His total package was over $1 million. Here, FSC was going down the tube. And that type of salary was agreed by the government, the previous government. And the Minister for Sugar was the Prime Minister. Number two, then when he left, Graham Clarkey, he was on a package of $750,000. When he left, then we had one Naveen Chandra. he was on a package of 500,000. Today we have a CEO, Bhan, on a package of 200,000. And he's doing a much better job than anybody else. Now, Mr. Speaker, there's another observation I want to make. The opposition keeps referring us as a three-party coalition or three-legged stool. Now, I remember very well, soon after the election, Fiji First, its executives went running to Sarawak.
To be the third leg of
Yeah, second leg of stool. And no stools can stand on two legs. Here, they thought Honorable Gavoka was a small kid. They can dangle a carrot in front of him and throw some walnuts to him. But little did they realize he's much intelligent than the people on the other side. So, today, this party, the coalition is intact, is solid. We are here for 4 years and beyond. And beyond. 40 years. Mr. Speaker, when the sugar industry was falling apart and is falling apart, I was given a comment by the other side that the Prime Minister made a wrong mistake by appointing me as the Minister of Sugar. In fact, the whole of Fiji knows that I'm a very successful businessman, I am a successful farmer, and this combination is the best combination.
Take that.
So, Mr. Speaker, as soon as we came into government, I collected all the stakeholders of FSC. I invited Mr. Harry Punja to our office. Sorry? No, to give us a businessman who has got a lot of experience. I wanted him to put an input with me, how to go about in the sugar industry. And I'll tell you one thing. One thing I'll tell you, Honorable Swati. Harry Punja had advised FSC some 20 years ago. Harry Punja advised FSC some 20 years ago that FSC should have a refinery. If they would have listened to him then, today the state of FSC wouldn't have been what it is today. Because the whole of the world where the sugar industry is, they have refineries together attached to it, they have cogeneration, and they have an ethanol plant. And that makes money. So anyway, Mr. Speaker, well, that's the same thing. Thereafter, you should have listened. Anyway, now, figures don't lie, Mr. Speaker. In 2006, the industry was thriving. It had 3.2 million tons of cane under Garas's government. In 2006, soon after the takeover happened, the sugar industry declined in its production. Today it stands at 1.6 million tons. Well, the minister was sleeping on the job. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, having said that,
he's saying to the former Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to start by, Mr. Speaker, I would like to start by commending the Minister for Finance, the Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Biman Prasad, for preparing a sophisticated but a clear and well thought out budget within a short time since assuming the office. His dedication, expertise, and leadership has been instrumental in crafting a comprehensive budget that addresses the critical and immediate needs of our nation, probably the finest budget that we have seen in a number of years.
Thank you.
The budget, Mr. Speaker, The budget aligns with the
Thank you,
coalition government's
Honourable
vision,
Minister. You're finally
addressing
on track again.
carefully and socially.
I said, it's good that you're on track again.
Thank you, sir. The budget, Mr. Speaker, the budget aligns with the coalition government vision, addressing carefully the socio-economic challenges and promotes sustainable development. The level of detail, clarity and strategic thinking is evident in the proposed budget that demonstrates his depth of understanding of our nation's financial landscape and his commitment to ensuring its prosperity. I also want to place on record, Mr. Speaker, my appreciation to the Fiscal Review Committee and its chairman, Mr. Richard Naidu, for leading the discussions and allowing contribution from each and every one that made efforts to get their views heard. And not forgetting our business houses, professionals, economists, and everyone that wanted his views or her views heard. This government has finally delivered a budget that was much needed. And I can assure you that we all will make every effort to ensure that every dollar is well spent on the expected outcomes and not spent lavishly like the Fiji First government. Mr. Speaker said, what the Finance Minister did was remarkable indeed. However, it would not have been possible without the ever-present support of our humble and most gracious Prime Minister, Honourable Sirivedi Rabuka. I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to the Honourable Prime Minister for his visionary leadership and steadfast commitment to the welfare of our beautiful nation. Under his guidance, our government has embarked on a transformative journey, prioritizing economic growth, social development, and sustainable progress. His guidance and support have been instrumental in shaping the direction of this budget and ensuring its alignment with our national priorities. I would also like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to each and every Cabinet Minister and Assistant Ministers, including their ministry staffs, for their tireless efforts, dedication, and expertise in their respective domains. As Honourable Prasad has mentioned in the budget address that I quote, you can only move forward if you have thoroughly examined the past and learned from it, unquote. Our predecessors had more than 15 years to right the perceived wrongs of the government before them, if they so understood. And I speak specifically on the sugar industry. They had 15 years, and I must stress 15 years, to formulate the act and act in the sugar industry, to give the industry a cutting edge, to bring about sweeping changes, and give the farmers what they deserve. Yet they failed, and if I must stress, they failed miserably. They stood here in this August House and proudly bragged about the economic boom and unprecedented growth in the past decade, while our people suffered because of their ignorance. Since I became the minister, the sugarcane farmers have been asking me, where is the economic boom? And why were they not part of this boom? And I told them, while we cannot change what has happened in the past, but we promise you this, that this government will work for the people, with you, and for the industry. Your promise, keep it. Mr. Speaker, I will now speak on the budget provided to the Ministry of Multi-Ethnic Affairs and Sugar Industry for 2023-2024 financial year. The Ministry of Multi-Ethnic and Sugar Industry has been allocated 51.7 million in the new financial year, of which 49.7 is for the sugar industry and 2 million is for the multi-ethnic affairs. The proposed budget reflects our commitment to revitalize and enhance the sugar industry, which has a vital role in our economy, providing employment opportunities, contributing to rural development, and generating foreign exchange earnings. It has been carefully crafted after extensive consultation with the industry experts, stakeholders, representatives from cane growers, millers, and other related sectors. Mr. Speaker said previously the farmers had one voice, and the only voice in the sugar industry was the Sugar Cane Growers Council. where the farmers' representatives could have made their voices heard and which was taken away from them. As we have promised that we'll bring back farmers' voice in the sugar industry. We'll give them the platform to air their grievances. We'll support them. We will listen to them as people's government. I am pleased to inform this August House, Mr. Speaker, that the budget allocation of 187,000 has been provided to hold the Sugarcane Growers Council election, which gives back farmers a voice in the affairs of the sugar industry. The allocation for the Sugarcane Growers Council will give back power to the farmers to choose their representative. Let's us face the fact, without farmers, there is no sugar industry. Mr. Speaker, let me shed some light on the situation of Fiji Sugar Corporation, or more formally known as FSC. FSC has been experiencing extreme financial distress attributed to climate change, volatility in raw sugar price, milling efficiencies, and declining cane production. This has been further exacerbated by the ignorance of the previous government. For the current financial year, FSC is looking at making a profit of 18 million at EBITDA. EBITDA meaning earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. However, once we factor that FSC has to pay the legacy debt, the profits turns around into a loss because of the historical debts of the past decades under the past government. Mr. Speaker, therefore, we are able to resolve the legacy debt issue for FSC. Therefore, if we are able to resolve the legacy debt issue of FSC, we should see a turnaround in FSC as well, as the sugar industry as a whole, as we forecast a profit more than $30 million at EBITDA for the next financial year. Also, Mr. Speaker, for what I want to inform this August House, that the government did not contribute any money for the top-up of cane payment for the last season. And we see a similar positive trend for this season as well. Mr. Speaker, our predecessors had promised $85 guaranteed cane price for the past 4 years. Our hard-working farmers did not reap the benefit that was promised. They were shortchanged. Since we have come into government, we are making every effort to correct the errors of the past. For the 2022 crop, farmers have already received $85.26. And I'm pleased to state that there's still one more final cane payment to come. We are pleased to announce that $85 ton will continue with this government, and I can state here and now that our government will not shortchange the farmers anymore. They'll receive what they rightfully have. But as I added, Mr. Speaker, the cane price in this coming season, the world price has gone up, and hopefully we will give at least, if not 95, at least up to 90. And this is based on the Master Award, because we have a 70-30 formula of sharing. So the more the price we get out of selling our sugar, the more the farmers get. Mr. Speaker, the industry has received an allocation of 150,000 under Sugar Industry Strategic Development Plan, which will allow all the stakeholders, including farmers, to contribute to the development of a strategic plan to revitalize the industry. The objective, as we see it, will be to significantly, the objective is, as we see, will be to significantly increase cane production to tap into the markets not explored before. We want to be able to venture into other markets such as making a refinery, to produce white sugar, ethanol, and cogeneration, which will provide some needed value addition and provide high returns to our hard-working farmers. To do this, Mr. Speaker, we need to invest in new mills that will help us achieve these goals. These mills can cost up to $100 million, all depending what size of mill you'd like to have. Now, recently on our trip to Mauritius, we have seen that we don't really have to go into this making sugar. If you want to make ethanol, you can go straight from sugar juice into ethanol, making of ethanol. So we are planning that if we're going to set up an ethanol plant, hopefully in the Kireki, then we'd like to have this type of small mills, which are more efficient, and it will run 24/7, 365 days a year, and based on the balance of the time, we'll use molasses out of Bai and Otoka mill to make ethanol. Sorry? Okay, so what I'm saying, see, these are the plans. Now, there was a comment made that there is no allocation in the budget. We actually, there is a feasibility study we done, right? Right? And this is not a matchwork project. This is a mill that we have to put in place. Look, we'll do it within 4 years. Listen. Mr. Speaker, I say, before we are able to realize our dreams of the new mills, the sophisticated sugar products, we need to significantly increase scale. The sugar industry has provided a budget of 5 million for the sugarcane development and farmers' assistance. This is an increase of 4 million from 2022-2023 financial year. The ministry aims to increase the cane production from its current production of 1.6 million to around 2 million tons by 2024 season. The target of 2 million tons could be achieved by bringing underutilized lands, cane production, replacing uneconomical raccoons, improving adoption of new technologies, promoting best husbandry practice, and improving on soil health. Mr. Speaker said, all over the world, the application of fertilizer has been crucial role in ensuring good crop production, which includes sugarcane. Fertilizers provide essential nutrients that are necessary for the healthy growth and development of sugarcane plants. Proper fertilization can significantly increase cane production. To ensure that fertilizer application is not compromised, the government will continue to subsidize fertilizer price for the sugarcane farmers. The sugar industry has been allocated $20 million to continue the subsidy on up to 65 or 90 for every bag of fertilizer that sugarcane farmers will purchase. This means sugarcane farmers will continue to pay only $20 per bag. Sir, Mr. Speaker, the sugar industry has been facing various challenges, including emerging impact of climate change. Frequent rain and flooding due to climate change has been one of the major problems for the industry. Drainage system in the sugarcane areas have been neglected for years or had negligible maintenance in the last several years. Consequently, there has been a significant reduction in cane production in the low-lying areas due to frequent flooding and seawater intrusion. A total of 6,550 growers are facing issues with infill or the main drain blockage, which equates to nearly 60% of the total active sugarcane growers in Fiji. Drainage system comprising of infill and main drains, culverts, and floodgates need to be repaired or changed to enable farmers to cultivate cane adequately with the good yield potential. The budget support 5.5 million provided will mitigate the effects of the poor drainage and increase the cane production and productivity for the next crushing season. By inhibiting plant growth, reducing sugar contents, and impending harvest operations, government has allocated weedicide subsidy of 1 million, which is an increase of 400,000 from the previous year. The subsidy will assist sugarcane farmers, afford effective weed control measures, ensure that the crops are not overshadowed by outcompeted by invasive weeds. Mr. Speaker said to ensure the viability of the sugar industry, Ministry takes measures to attract new farmers while at the same time maintaining those good farmers by providing some relief for the renewal of lease. By providing a budget of 2 million for new farmers and lease premium assistance, the government has ensured that much needed relief is provided to farmers who want to invest in the sugar industry but have financial barriers. By encouraging the new farmers to enter the industry, it helps to ensure a continuous supply of sugarcane and promotes the growth of the competitiveness of the sugar industry. Mr. Speaker said, since the Reki mill has been closed by the previous government, we have no alternative but to continue with the cane cartage program. The program provides transportation, cost relief, by ensuring farmers not to be burdened with the excessive cost of transporting the cane from Penang mill area to Rarawai mill. The program will continue with a budget of 4,900,000, which will allow the Penang mill farmers to transport 130,000 tons of cane to Rarawai mill. Mr. Speaker, the cost of producing cane has increased significantly over the years, and the growers are relying on government subsidies sustainably. Whilst the government has guaranteed a price of $85, the profit margin has diluted largely because of the transportation cost. The growers near the mills are able to absorb the increase. Those located in the outer areas are not able to sustain themselves and are slowly leaving the industry. Cage beans allow mechanically harvested cane to be brought to the mills by rail mode of transportation, which is the cheapest mode of transportation for sugarcane. Currently, there are 60 cage beans that has been being used in Lotoka mill, which has been a success story in easing the transportation issues for farmers. The budget of 1 million provided in this financial year, the cage beans, will ensure that FSC is able to introduce a further 50 cage beans, which will further ease transportation issues for the sugarcane.
Are we rounding off, Honorable?
Okay, all right, Mr. Speaker. Well, there is something to be said about multi-ethnic, but I'll leave it to some other day. Yes. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to me, all members.
Thank you.